Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome into episode 35 Kayfabe Council, show where we review and critique news topics and segments in the world of professional wrestling. My name is Pretty Tony, and alongside me, as always, it's TF Joker. Joker, what's the crack, brother? What's going on?
Dude, you know what? I'm in a really good mood this week. I'm in a super good mood this week. And it's mainly because last night, well, to add on to everything, last night we figured out there's only one more week until the Royal Rumble. We all know how I feel about the Royal Rumble. It is one of my favorite pay-per-views, premium live events, thingamabobs on my TV screen that I just really am excited and I look forward to every single year. I'm just in a super good mood, dude. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I know for some folks, traditionally, I kind of end up being sort of tired, a little bit out of it in the beginning of the year. Yeah, a little tired, sort of. As comes New Year's, comes new questions and new thoughts and perspectives and things of such. But yeah, like you mentioned, the Royal Rumble is always kind of a fun sort of distraction or fun lit thing to look forward to, just because the nature of the entrance and the eliminations and surprises and returns. So Rumble's always kind of a good thing to help sort of pass the malign nature of what could be sometimes a weird start to a year.
Yeah, 100%. January is always the longest month, which about 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks ish, whatever way it falls. It always feels like it's the longest month, especially mainly because it's just right after that Christmas period, that holiday period, whatever you celebrate. Where now you've got to figure out how to pay the bills. So you're just kind of sat there going, "Oh dear." And I don't know what it's like where you are, PT, but this last week we've started getting snow and it started being freezing and it's actually been super cold, but thankfully it's not sticking around and we're okay. We're getting through it and we're not having any more snow.
Yeah, it's one of those things where obviously we're into about the third week or so of January, and over by me, it's starting to get cool down, lower temperatures. Back on the East Coast, yeah, we would definitely be hunkering down for some big snowstorms. I know I'm keeping my thoughts for the folks over on the West Coast, over in California, getting a lot of rainstorm and a lot of things as such. So weather is going to be a big contingent of sort of what's kind of going on with January and trying to help survive it. And for hopefully you folks that are listening or watching here, you can we can offer you a little bit of distraction on what's going to be a very Royal Rumble centric episode. So appreciate you folks coming along.
100% appreciate it and hope you too share some love for the Royal Rumble season.
All right, before we get into the show proper, we here at Kayfabe Council are saddened to hear the tragic passing of Jay Briscoe. Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and fans at this time. All right, as a reminder, you can find us in video form at youtube.com/Kayfabe Council and in audio form wherever you get your podcasts from. On this week's episode, we look at The Rock in the Royal Rumble match, who can declare and who has to earn their way into the Rumble, possible returns or debuts in the Rumble match. What exactly is a Mountain Dew pitch black match? And Roman Reigns takes on Kevin Owens at the eponymous pay-per-view. But coming up first, The Rock in the Royal Rumble match. This has been one of the longly speculated pieces that WWE has been trying to figure out. If they can somehow figure out a way with The Rock scheduling, and if they can pull it off, to have The Rock face off against Roman Reigns at the upcoming WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, as once again, WrestleMania goes Hollywood. It's sort of been one of the worst kept secrets of one of the things, and it's kind of been sort of talked about for quite a long time. Before we kind of get into a little bit of the conversation, as so, what I mean, Joker for you is something of Roman Reigns versus The Rock, regardless of a championship match. Is it something you're even kind of interested in? What are your thoughts, brother?
Oh, 100%. I feel like so I might be the only one that thinks like this. I don't know. I don't really know the sounding board of the internet wrestling community or just anybody in general who kind of feels like this, but I've seen since the fact that The Rock kind of looked at the fans booing everybody as he was holding up Roman's arm and kind of going, what are you doing? Given that kind of, excuse me, I'm The Rock, please cheer for my cousin here. Ever since he's held that up, like we've kind of thought, what would that look like? What would maybe a Rock versus Roman look like? And then late in 2022, we did see a Young Rock episode. I didn't watch the episode, but obviously, the whole scene was everywhere on the Twatterverse. Where you got to see a young Roman kind of saying, we gonna fight, and then the guy who plays The Rock kind of said, "Oh no, we gotta save that for the big stage," and all this here, paraphrasing, of course. So that was kind of thrown into the loop of everybody. That sort of hyped everyone up. It's like, oh, The Rock versus Roman for WrestleMania. And then it's just kind of the storyline of what Roman has been building these last couple of years. The bloodline. Everybody knows about the Anoa'i family. You've got the Usos, you've got the Rikishi, you've got Umaga, you've got Roman himself, you've got The Rock, who's related, Afa and Siki, just a whole bunch of other people, that are related to this family, in this family, in this bloodline. You're just like, okay, how did the rest of these guys feel? Because we know how wrestlers get. We see them. They don't like to be upstaged. And The Rock, if you are part of the Attitude Era, as in watched it rather, you'll remember how The Rock was. He wouldn't be upstaged by anybody. Even the Hollywood Rock was a bit of a pompous, arrogant individual. So I mean, it would honestly make me wonder if you weren't thinking about what would a Roman Reigns in the head of the table gimmick look like against The Rock, who is conquered Hollywood gimmick, you know?
Very interesting notion. Yeah, you have two sort of now that Roman has been in the Fed for the guts of roughly 10 years or so, and now is positioned very highly. And of course, now with The Rock, sort of his status as a legend in WWE as well as outside, how would those two clash? Yeah, it'd be very, very interesting sort of melding of how would the match go, and then you run into like who would win, who would lose, things of that nature. So yeah, it's a very interesting notion for sure. But we've got some news coming out in the last couple of days here. We have Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that The Rock has indicated that he won't have time to get into ring shape for the match. He wrote, quote, "We were told that unless he changes his mind in the next few days, since a deadline for Mania plans is coming, that he's indicated he won't have time to get into the kind of shape he feels he needs to be in to do a main event match with Roman Reigns, but kept the door open for something in the future. Of course, it is a possibility that it's something being kept a secret from everyone." Meltzer added, "I don't know what he's officially turned it down, but the only indication is that it was considered less likely than a few months ago." So we had essentially The Rock come out and say, "I'm just not going to have time to get into the shape I want to be in to face Roman." Which, of course, with The Rock being a former wrestler and the carny nature of wrestling in its roots, folks, are sometimes you can't always take a wrestler's word as his word. So there's been speculation that this is just a cover, things of such. So it's one of those you can never can tell what's going on.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't think you can really believe The Rock at any point in time, but that's not to say everybody get your hopes up. 100% The Rock is going to face Roman. He's going to come out at number 30 and topple the legend that is Cody the Roller Coaster. Um, just kind of take that win from out of Cody's seals and just go on to WrestleMania glory once again. I don't think that's the case. There's probably an essence of truth to this, and the essence of truth, just kind of taking a step back, maybe playing a bit of devil's advocate here. Maybe The Rock feels like he might not be as big of a star as what Roman is right now in what is considered modern day WWE. Now, we can all look back. Myself personally, I love The Rock. The Rock was one of my absolute favorite superstars, an arrogant heel, a fantastic baby face, an all round amazing superstar individual whenever he was active on the roster. And, between him and Triple H and Steve Austin, who could deny that this was just a trifecta of amazing talent? So, do we kind of see him now? Like, do the fans nowadays sort of see The Rock as a big star compared to Tribal Chief, the needle mover, the head of the table, the big dog, the man who is, was, and forever will be Roman Reigns? I don't know if he really kind of wants to come into that anymore. You know what I mean?
You spoke a little bit about the nature of a wrestler's ego. I have to be as you should. I should make myself a big deal. I am a big deal. I should be the number one guy, things of such. As the WWE's fan base, based on ratings and such, skews a little bit older, as it has been for a little while more recently, the nature of The Rock coming back, folks are, I would say a fair amount of fans would remember and probably pop for The Rock just showing up, for example. But there are young fans that may not have ever seen him wrestle. I mean, the last time he was in the ring was that random squash match against Eric Rowan, but then before that, facing John Cena a couple times, things like that. So there are a selection of young fans who have just never seen him wrestle, as opposed to if you watch a little bit more regularly, Roman has been on your screen and been shown as a big deal. So I don't know. From a nostalgia standpoint, I feel like the reaction can be there, but yeah, it's one of those. If you've been away a while, you always kind of wonder, and it creeps into your mind: will folks remember me, or will they recall me being a big deal, like I think I'm being a big deal?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And 100% that is always on people's minds. I feel like earlier in 2022 with the return of Saraya to the ring, and right at the start of 2023 here with the return of Adam Cole to the ring, people in wrestling do have long memories. We don't have short memories in terms of, maybe the big stars. Like, who bigger than The Rock in this regard? We do have, Saraya and Adam Cole to kind of compare to, and their careers, just as much as The Rock's, has spanned a long time in the WWE. He has been such a big draw for the company. He has been an ambassador. I feel like, yeah, 100%, even if the kids aren't the ones screaming and cheering, it will be the dads, it will be the uncles, it will be the mothers, it will be everybody just kind of screaming, going, "Oh my goodness!" And then the kids will follow suit. It's like, "Yes, it's The Rock. I have no idea who this guy is, but my mom and dad are screaming for them, so I'm going to scream for them as well." But there's plenty of people out there who watch the the Attitude Era stuff and older and newer. So maybe we're completely off base here. Maybe a lot of people do understand who The Rock is as a wrestler, because the kids these days would probably understand him more as Black Adam, or that guy from the Fast and Furious movies, or just in general the funny guy from Disney movies and stuff like this here. So we could be off base in that, and he would get a massive pop regardless. So
I'll also throw in as a pseudo comparison Steve Austin came back at Mania last year to face Kevin Owens, and he got a huge
Did.
reaction, and folks were looking forward to. So maybe that could be an indication of what maybe could happen if The Rock does appear in WWE.
There was a lot of build to that as well. Kevin did a good bit of build to that, and his sort of rivalry with Seth Rollins, trying to take his talk show spot, as it were. So there was some build to that. Here, there is less so. So it's maybe a wee bit mm, not as hot, really. But that's not to say that a surprise visit from Dwayne the Rock Johnson would not pop the roof off of any building.
That's fair to say. So, as it stands, based on a report from Uncle Dave, Rock's just mentioning he won't feel like he won't have time to get into ring shape. So, that's what he's saying out loud. Whether you feel like you're believing that or not leads to speculation. But adding fuel to the fire, two new pieces of merchandise were released by WWE on their shop website for The Rock. To further back that up, Uncle Dave also goes on to mention that's just in relation to Raw 30, so trying to cash in on a little bit of that nostalgia trip, baby.
Whatever you say, Dave, I don't believe it for a hot dang second. Are you kidding me? Up until maybe some recent news that we kind of read before we came record today, I'd have been like, shut your mouth up. Like, calm down. What are you doing? What are you telling me this absolute nonsense about? New Rock merch dropping, and you telling me the Rock's not going to make an appearance at something sometime soon? That's just weird to me. Um, but WWE does have the rights to him, probably still, so they can do whatever they want. And yeah, Raw 30 coming up on Monday night. They could be right, but I'm holding out hope that we do see a big Rock return, a big pop. I can't wait for his music to hit. Just whatever it is, I will actually wide eyed, slack jawed, shaking the fists, cheering and cheering, watching. So yeah, it could be good, but I'm holding out hope.
Fair enough. So, like we said, The Rock mentioned you feel like you won't have time to get into ring shape, but be that as it may, believe it, what you will or what you won't. So those were our thoughts on The Rock possibly showing back up and or being in the Royal Rumble match. Let us know down in the comment section below or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Let us know what your thoughts and hopes are for The Rock and WWE. All right, on to our next topic here. Who can declare for the Royal Rumble match and who has to earn their way into said match? It's a very, very interesting notion of, like we said, who can just announce themselves and who has to earn their way. But you know who already has announced their entrance into the Royal Rumble? Adrenaline in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare, the roller coaster himself, Cody Rhodes. Joker, I know you're a huge Cody mark. What are your thoughts on the announcement of Cody returning and declaring himself for the Royal Rumble match?
Shaking the fists, PT. Yes, yes. That was my immediate reaction, and then I kind of realized I've been robbed of my surprise reaction of the more intense shaking of the fist and roaring while I'm watching the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I'm in a bit of two minds with this. I've been robbed of the surprise reaction, but after Hell in the Cell with Seth Rollins and seeing that pec tear, I'm super stoked to see Cody back. Yes, I'm a big Cody mark. I love Cody. I think Cody is one of those who is a very polarizing individual. People will love him, people will hate him. I think I really enjoy him because he is polarizing, because people will hate him, because people will love him. He offers that sort of pure love for the craft of wrestling. And he does what he wants, but he wants to entertain people and he wants to just kind of love what he does and show us that he loves what he does. He says in a couple of these vignettes that we saw that there wasn't enough people to kind of tear him away from that ring or keep him from that ring. Paraphrasing, of course, like his passion we've seen beforehand that he will do back in the Stardust days. He will do whatever you tell him to do because he is a loyal guy. He will do what needs to be done to get through and do the job. But it wasn't creatively fulfilling. So he went off, he did the indies, he ended up in AEW as one of the owners, again, putting himself over people, obviously hating that. I personally thought that, him bringing in individuals, having matches with people, not only elevated his stock, but elevated the stock of the people that he was competing against. So, bring us fast forward to right now, where I see Cody Rhodes on my screen. I am super stoked. However, he's going to enter middle of the pack. I am very worried for my man, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I'm super, super scared. I wanted this man to win Money in the Bank. His body betrayed me. I want this man to win Royal Rumble. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is the nature of the Royal Rumble. I absolutely love the fact that this guy has declared. I hate the fact that I was robbed of my surprise reaction, but I think at this point in time, right now, of recording, I'm super happy to see the man healthy, back, and willing to compete with as much vim and vigor that he had before.
Agreed. As we mentioned, with a Saraya return and an Adam Cole, we're happy to see folks be able to come back and do what they enjoy and do what they love, for folks that have been in the business for quite a long time, like those mentioned as well. So having Cody just say ahead of time, I'm in the Rumble type of thing, it plays on, they played a little bit into it in the vignette of just before he left, he wanted to go after the WWE title and capture that and hold the belt that his father got to physically hold, but not actually hold as a championship reign. So I could see that too. And with the nature of has a little bit of those kind of Triple H 2002, had some vignettes returning and had a strong comeback, and Triple H ended up winning the 2002 Royal Rumble. So there are a little bit of callbacks, which is an interesting connection between the two, but it's playing into the nature of having vignettes, having Cody declare, having him be in the ring. Like, it seems like he's probably a strong bet to win. Why would he lose and put all those time into those vignettes if he's not going to win?
100%, but you're forgetting the one major difference. There's no denim.
Needs more denim.
Needs more denim, and then it will be a true like for like Triple H comeback return. This is why I'm worried that Cody could fall at the final hurdle. He's not wearing denim to the ring. He doesn't wear that denim leather combo with the slick back with the water hair, then I don't know. We could run into some hurdles here, PJ.
Now that you mention it, I want to see when Cody comes out at the Rumble to make his entrance, I want to see a denim cutoff vest on top of a leather jacket. Please, Cody, we need it to happen. So,
He has to be all like,
yeah. I kind of want it. Please just make it happen. Even for
yeah,
us, PT and Joker over here.
yeah. Just pop the boys. Come on.
Please, we need it. It'll be a fun, quick hit segment. So yeah. But the nature of Cody announcing that he is in the Rumble here, I always find it interesting. So the WWE, the Fed, goes back and forth between folks just literally declaring on the shows themselves or on Twitter, like, hey, I'm in the Rumble. But there are people that have to earn their way in. So I have it here. Mr. Richard O'Shea himself qualified to enter the Rumble by beating Top Dollar on the January 6th episode of SmackDown. And then as of this past Raw, we had Akira Tozawa ask Adam Pearce for an opportunity, to which he got a match but did not succeed. So my question to you, Joker, is, in storyline, in kayfabe, who or why can some people just say I'm in and others have to qualify? Help me understand, brother.
All right, I'm going to give you the bare bones, really, 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 just kind of close to the knuckle here, kind of Joker take. All right,
Give me the kayfabe, brother. Give me the kayfabe.
if you are lower mid card talent, you got to earn it, brother. If you are upper mid card and you have had plus 10 hours of TV, then you can get through and maybe possibly declare. There is a very fine line. If you are main event, a la Jey Uso, then you can just declare and you can get what you want. But Akira Tozawa recently, honestly, he has only recently come away from the stink that was the 24/7 championship, whenever that was, gotten rid of by none other than Nicola Glenn Cross, Nikki Cross. Absolutely love the fact that she did away with that title belt. Thank you so much. But it did free up talent like Akira Tozawa, who then only a couple of weeks ago was with the Street Profits and now is kind of back out on his own. Richard O'Shea, a countryman, Ricochet, has sort of, I don't know, fallen afoul of Top Dollar because of Top Dollar's inability to get over the top rope. Don't hate Top Dollar. I know you like to record them diss tracks. I would never have been able to get halfway over to what you got. So you are, at least 50% better than me trying to get over that top rope. So 100, go off, and just keep doing what you're doing. But he just kind of ran afoul of Top Dollar. I think that was just kind of baked in, because he's a former Intercontinental Champion. He's a little, don't want to talk bad about Akira here, Akira Tozawa here, but like he's a little bit of a step up from Akira Tozawa in terms of how he, his championship reign. So I feel like if your name has been on TV, then you can declare all you want. But if your name hasn't been on TV, you had best win that qualifying match, brother.
Now, I asked for the storyline slash kayfabe reason. You kind of gave me a little shoot ski reason as to why people can
I
declare and
did,
people have
but
to
I
earn.
kind of was going for the kayfabe, and then just kind of went, no, it has to be 100% Shutsuki's. Like, it kind of mixes in though, because it's the 24/7 championship. Like, mm.
I'm in agreement with you that there are some people that who may be a little bit more higher on the card can declare. Like I have folks here, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, just picking out a few. Rey Mysterio, Gunther, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, Shamo, Drew. Those folks all announced themselves, right? So that kind of makes sense. But then the aforementioned Mr. Richard O'Shea had to earn his way. Akira tried to, but didn't. So I guess, yeah, they flip flop back and forth between maybe the amount of TV time they have to maybe dedicate to quote unquote qualifying matches, things of such. Maybe they're a little hard pressed for time with the Rumble being roughly 1 week's time away. That notwithstanding, I think roughly half the men's field is announced, roughly. So we have potentially 15 unknown spots with a week's time to go. There's a lot of open spots in the ladies and the women's rumble, per se. So begs to be seen. I'm sure we'll see some announced and then some just left to surprises. But it's interesting to note that they are leaving potentially a lot of unannounced for returns slash surprises and things of such. So I'm not mad at it. There was rumblings that with the announcement of Cody Rhodes saying that he's in it, that the WWE was kind of content or happy with the surprises that they have lined up in terms of entrances. So if you're cool kind of letting the cat out of the bag for Cody, which is arguably a bad kept secret, then if you're happy with the surprises you got, hopefully it lives middle. I don't know if it's gonna live up or live down to expectations, but hopefully there are just some fun entrants regardless.
Oh, 100%. I feel like with them saying, we're happy with the surprises we have, there has to be one or two big names in there. Obviously, I can't reveal Cody Rhodes is in fact going to win the entire Royal Rumble because he's my guy. And I had a long conversation with him, and he said 100% Joker, I'm winning the Rumble. Like there's literally no chance that I am not winning this Rumble. Are you kidding me? Look at how much money I make. And it's just one of those things that I feel like, of course, you didn't say that, but um, I feel like that's one of those things that I just really am looking forward to is the surprises because at the end of the day, that's what the Rumble season brings. That the music hits, and then oh my goodness, who's this? And then it takes a second for you to recognize the music, and then boom, out comes Edge, a la 2020 Royal Rumble, just mind blowing. Like nobody saw that coming. Absolutely everybody went nuts in that building. This was just prior to the pandemic hitting, and I had no idea, and I lost my mind. Like I want that, and if they're happy with the kind of guys and girls that they've got for the rumbles, then yeah, I'm okay.
That's a fair point. So it's always in we talked about the nature of the Royal Rumble always being exciting. And part of that is the surprise entrance, the not letting everyone know who's going to kind of be in, or the speculation of who might be in there. So I'm in agreement. You know, I feel like they should just kind of they use who can declare and who can has to earn their way as a crutch of sorts, but it is what it is. We have some folks announced and we're going to have some surprises, so we'll kind of see how it plays itself out. So, those are our thoughts on who can declare for the Rumble and who has to earn their way in. Let us know down in the comment section below on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter or Instagram and let us know what your thoughts or your impressions of who can declare and who has to earn. All right, and speaking of who might be in said match, let's talk about maybe who could return or debut in the Rumble match. So, Joker, I kind of throw it over to you. Do you have maybe an idea or maybe a little your tinfoil speculation hat on, if you wheel, your armchair booker, about who could maybe be one of the surprises in the Royal Rumble for the men's or the women's?
Just gonna I've not got a pencil, but I'll put my Booker pen up here. I do have a couple of ideas that could quite possibly could be coming through for both men's and women's. I have a couple, or at least for these sort of things. I have no basis in fact. I just want to put these out here. I just want to say there's no basis for this. This is I've seen stuff on Instagram. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. I've seen stuff on YouTube for some of these individuals. And this is just kind of what's based on. So please, yes, tinfoil hats on, everybody. Let us just ride into the world of fantasy for what's going to happen here for a hot second. First up, in the men's Royal Rumble, Rick Boogs going to be coming back and just treading on down with his guitar because we're obviously going to have Pat McAfee back before this. Maybe possibly already just standing on that table, doing the air guitar, shredding along with Rick Boogs. I have seen some stuff on his personal YouTube and stuff that he's working out. He seems to be in good shape. I have seen pictures of him in the performance center, hanging out with some talent there. So that is kind of what I'm hoping for. Um, a big name this time, as if Rick Boogs wasn't big enough, like he was at Mania. Um, Brock Lesnar, very low on the kind of possibility of him coming out, but I really enjoyed seeing him in the 2020 Royal Rumble whenever he just ripped through everybody and then saw Keith Lee and just went for a big expletive here. Yeah, absolutely love that interaction. I think he would be really good in this, but that's kind of down to him. Just I love seeing cowboy, sort of country boy, Brock Lesnar. And that's kind of the basis for that. Last but not least, because you don't have too many of these, I do have one slightly big person here, and that is the deathmatch king himself, Matt Cardona. Just coming in because I think that would be amazing to see this man come back. We've had people come back before who have been independent wrestlers or who have been former individuals that have come through were worked with other promotions, a la Mickey James. Now, obviously, there was preceding sort of history there, but Matt Cardona is so big. He's absolutely huge right now. I think he's done so well for himself since. I think this would possibly be a one-off for him, and I think this would be so good for him. I think it would be fun. The reason for that is because one of the women coming in for the Royal Rumble is Chelsea Green, who makes her debut here. You don't now. There are rumors that that she's been waiting for creative. She waited for creative before. You don't need creative to come back for a Royal Rumble, do you? You just need to go in there. You need to have a bit of a good exhibition. You need to protect your wrists. Chelsea Green, I believe that was what she broke before. A couple of times she has had, if she comes to the ring with some wrist supports, I wouldn't be mad at it. So yeah, 100% we see that there. Another woman that I would absolutely love to see is Molly Holly. Molly Holly just absolutely brings joy and a smile on my face anytime I see her. Just bring her back. I know that sometimes you don't like to have too many sort of um, elder statesmen in this kind of regard, people from the past generation to come back and take the spots of the younger generation. But that'll be super good to see that sort of inclusion because I love Molly Holly, and it's more just to make me happy. Last but not least, Indy Hartwell. I'd like to see Indy Hartwell come up because I think Indiana Jones is one of the best female wrestlers in NXT. I love her. I think she's fantastic, and this would be a nice little entry point for her as well into the main roster world, especially because Dexter Loomis is up there. I think still maybe he has gone missing for a while, but those two have been kayfabe romantically linked, so be fun to see her up there as well. What about yourself, BT? What kind of possible returns debuts do you have?
I do like your choices, and I think I like you mentioning Matt Cardona as a one-off. That was kind of cool. So I do like that. Some of your maybe like quote unquote call ups from NXT or type of thing. So I'm not mad at it. I think they're kind of sweet as well. For me, I'm thinking Brock Lesnar, which you mentioned as well. Just kind of come in and wreck shop and just have a little fun. So I think that's always been, especially, and you made it a point. The more recent Cowboy Brock, it'll just kind of be fun to kind of see him. So I wouldn't be mad. Edge, Edge has been off a little bit since that last matchup with Finn Balor, where they ended up taking out his wife, Beth Phoenix. So I could see if there's a spot where Finn's in the Rumble itself and boom, Edge music hits and they can have a little fracas and maybe, I don't know, maybe Edge throws Finn out. So I could see that leading to something where maybe Edge can get his revenge. So trying to think of creative, baby. So Matt Riddle, who I know he's off a little bit, tending to some things. I don't want to speculate of maybe where he's been, but he's just away at the moment. So if everything is okay for him personally and professionally, making a return back at the Rumble wouldn't be a bad possibility. So, and then my last pick for the men's, Cameron Grimes. I know that he's been somebody that we've heard some good things, and he's kind of just a fun guy to have up. And haven't watched a little bit of NXT more recently, specifically, but he was just kind of one of their bigger stars. So with him maybe sort of winding down potentially in NXT, I wouldn't see why not where the Cameron Grimes could maybe make a spot to potentially be on Raw or SmackDown. So I could see that. In terms of the women's rumble, I can see Asuka with that potential heel turn and sort of being the I don't know. We can that sort of devilish character that we've seen in Japan and kind of reintroduce that and sort of I feel like that could be a kind of a good time or a good moment to potentially reintroduce Asuka sort of in that gimmick. So kind that sort of Kana character that she has. So Kana Chan, we appreciate you. Lacey Evans coming back in the reintroduction. I know Lacey's had a bit of a sort of touch and go year last year with all the vignettes and kind of is she heel, is she face, kind of being time off and time on and things of such. And more recently, she had the sort of boot camp, and they're introducing the Cobra Clutch as her potential finisher or move. So that could be a kind of good thing to reintroduce her as well. From NXT, Gigi Dolan, one of the members of Toxic Attraction. I feel like she could make a potential one-off, ergo kind of like your notion of a Matt Cardona, which eventually might lead her and JC Jane for Toxic Attraction to potentially come up to either Raw or SmackDown. And you already mentioned her, but there has been potential rumors of Chelsea Green, like you said, being signed already and just waiting for creative. There were notions of maybe after Mandy Rose had left, that Chelsea Green could be a person that could help align with Toxic Attraction and maybe sort of be in a partnership on either a Raw or SmackDown. So I could see any one of those folks, male or female, going in there, and I wouldn't be mad. So those were kind of just some fun picks.
Yeah, 100%. I think some of those picks have been fantastic from you. Yeah, Gigi Dolan, yeah, 100%. Toxic Attraction, just in general, I've heard some good things about them coming up, and Cameron Grimes as well. So, yeah, definitely some picks I wouldn't be mad at.
Yeah. I do like you thinking outside the box with Matt Cardona, so a little bit of the outside world too, but yeah, just kind of thought of some folks who were maybe in-house that could just kind of make it easy, but I do like your picks as well. We were aligned and then we thought a little of different as well. So really I liked your picks. I thought they were strong as well, so. All right, so those were our picks for possible returns or debuts in the Rumble match. Let us know down in the comment section below on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter or Instagram and let us know what your possible picks for entrance into the Royal Rumble. All right, moving on to the next topic here. What is a Mountain Dew registered trademark pitch black match?
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
There it is, Veve. There's been a lot of sort of speculation. Obviously, we're not sponsored by Redacted, but hey, I mean, if you're open to a sponsorship, hey, brother, so it can
Hey,
help.
hit us up. I'll be hopped up on Mountain Dew. I'm okay with that.
It can help us with the cause, brother. But that notwithstanding, this is a return of sorts to, if I'm not mistaken, this was a product that was available in the early 2000s, and they're kind of just sort of reintroducing it here. But obviously, it's a partnership of sorts or sponsorship with WWE in terms of trying to get over the product itself. So in terms of the match, kind of what exactly is a pitch black match, we had Mr. LA Knight, who appeared on the After the Bell podcast, noted that it has been indicated to him that the bout will be a street fight kind of in the dark. Discussing the upcoming match, Knight said, quote, "Pitch black match, it's something new in the making. There was something to that point of, I don't know what the hell it is, what the hell it's going to be. Every indication I've been given is that it's going to be a kick-ass street fight and be kind of in the dark. I don't know what the lighting is going to be, how it's going to work, what other kind of factors or elements are going to come into play. All I know is that it's going to be a fight of the Royal Rumble." So much like sort of I speculated myself, or I kind of had inclinations, kind of just sort of be sort of a street fight, no DQ type of situation, probably with some dim lights and maybe some other elements in play. On this past week's episode of SmackDown, Michael Cole mentioned that the match will be no rules and anything goes. The only way to win to be pinfall submission. So, with a little bit more clarity, we're going to see the man himself, Los Angeles Knight, face up against a Bray returning to the ring, Bray Wyatt, excluding house show matches, but it should be quite the interesting notion with the revelation of a certain segment that returned on SmackDown, Joker.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and answer the pitch black match. Why would we do this, WWE? Why would we do this sort of silly thing? Why would we make another avenue for Bray Wyatt to sort of feel in? We all remember the pandemic. We mentioned it earlier on with the return of Edge, and with it brought some really good things. The cinematic match was a thing that kind of came out of that. And whenever I heard Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, I immediately thought of a cinematic match. I thought that there was going to be something in the dark, that was going to be cinematic, that was going to be sort of creepy, almost horror film esque. That's kind of what my brain was going towards as to maybe what could possibly happen. But we don't do those matches anymore. So this is a wee bit late. However, with last week's promo from Bray Wyatt sort of saying, I am Uncle Howdy, I am whatever, I am him, this whole thing of him bringing back the Fiend has some sort of traction now. I feel like maybe people are getting a little bit steel on this. I am Bray Wyatt. This is me, because we've had that for about 2 months now. We've had the same promo, and I told you this would only work for one promo. And he kept doing it. And personally, for me, it stopped working after the first promo. Like, I love you guys. Like, I 100% get it, Bray. I love this sincere sort of attitude from you. But this past week on SmackDown that you've alluded to, we saw the return of Saturday morning cartoon host Bray Wyatt with Mercy the Buzzard, Huskus the Pig Boy, Abby the Witch, and Little Ramblin' Rabbit, along with Bray Wyatt himself in his tight sweater and with his hair all back, and him doing the nice big old smile. My kind of view on this is we've hit a point of, are we going to then stop with Uncle Howdy? What is the point in bringing this back? Because you're taking away from this character that's affected by Uncle Howdy, who got Sister Abigail by Uncle Howdy a couple of weeks ago, and now has appeared by the side of Alexa Bliss this last while. Now he's
Mind games.
yeah,
Mind games.
100% mind games going on. Like, is this Uncle Howdy? Could be the little brother of Bray Wyatt himself, and could be Bo Dallas himself. There have been threads out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say the mind is wandering. I would really like to see some reasoning as to why we're bringing back the Firefly Funhouse. I don't know what version of Bray Wyatt we're gonna get, but you can dang sure believe that we're gonna get baseball bats. We're gonna get kendo sticks. We're gonna get chairs. We're gonna get tables. We're gonna get fire extinguishers, all emblazoned with Mountain Dew, pitch black, and we're going to get a purple light. And that's what's going to make it pitch black, because it's not that the fact that it's pitch black It's the fact that we're just theming it based off good old Mountain Dew.
Quite an interesting notion. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I saw an image of the soda and it is a bit of a purplish tinge. So I could see that coming into play. And I forgot, you cheeky monkey, that there will most likely be the branding on the maybe the barricades or on a ring post, on the apron. There might be some sodas around. There might actually be like a logo or two on something that on the plunder, as Dusty Rhodes would say, that they're going to hit each other with.
100%. And you know Michael Cole is going to go. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match featuring Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. And then it's going to go to the announcer, whoever's announcing. I think it's going to be Samantha's going to be announcing that. And it's nice for the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Enough with the Mountain Dew.
Well, they paid for the sponsorship, I'm sure, but you took
100%.
the words right out of my mouth. I was hoping that only Michael Cole would say the sponsorship and not have the ring announcers say it, because that would be bad. So
if Samantha's not doing it, I feel like she would kill it though. She absolutely destroys the ring announcing. She's so good. And if I don't hear her say Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, I think I might lose my mind.
That's fair. But now that I've speculated it's going to be some kind of street fight, and we have some sort of clarity on that. And you mentioned a little bit of a cinematic style or cinematic match being something that we visited in the pandemic era. I wouldn't be opposed to if an element sort of pre-match or sort of how they had with that random street fight with Bray and the House of Horror thing where they had like a pre-tape thing sort of backstage, which was cinematic, but then they had an in-ring element. So I wouldn't be opposed to having maybe a little cinematic element, but then also having an in-ring thing, obviously for the fans in attendance. But I could kind of see one way or the other, or blending a little bit of both. So regardless, it'll be fun to kind of see Bray back in the ring, LA Knight. Again, we talked about it a little bit before in previous episodes, these very sort of diametrically opposed personalities coming together for this angle. So regardless, it'll be fun to see Bray come back, and I don't know how I'm going to feel with possible shoving the branding down our throat.
I am going to react with all due eye roll and sighing, but it has my boy LA Knight in there. So yeah. Let me talk to you. I'm just gonna be yaying for about 15-20 minutes, however long this match is gonna be. I love LA Knight. I think he's 100% needs to be on my TV screen an awful lot more than he is. It's criminal how little he's on TV right now. And I just want to see him more. Obviously, recording promos and stuff for this Mountain Dew presents the Pitch Black match or whatever the heck they're calling it. I just want to see LA Knight succeed and do an awful lot more. He's 100% deserving of a lot more than some silly gimmick match that even he and his opponent do not know what the heck it's based around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in agreement. It should be. We're both looking forward to whatever kind of bollocks this is going to be. So we hopefully will have just a fun match and kind of see where both guys go after the match in question happens.
Debut Bo Dallas. Let's go.
Is that a...
Right. Re-debut. Yeah.
There we go. So Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas. You got a Bray leave, perhaps, if we can. But we'll see kind of how these things play out. So those were our thoughts on on what even is a pitch black match. Let us know down in the comment section below on YouTube, or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Let us know if you agree or disagree, or if you're even looking forward to a pitch black match. All right, and coming up to our final topic here on today's show, Roman Reigns will be facing off against Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. As we saw on the most recent episode of SmackDown, we tried to have a contract signing, which never goes according to plan. Poor Pierce, appreciate you calling it out in an element or an in-ring before, but we had a little calamity, notwithstanding by a surprise attack from Kevin Owens. We now have it signed, sealed, official. Kevin Owens will now face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, or as Joker calls it, the UWU, Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This is a run back of the 2002 No, excuse me, 2020 Royal Rumble, 2020 Royal Rumble, or the 2021. Delete is appropriate, but we've seen this matchup at the Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at the Rumble. I want to say it's 2021 because they're the Tropicana Field.
Yeah, I think 2020 was Seth Rollins or something like this here. With
That
Kevin
sounds
Owens.
about right because they both came through the crowd. So 2021, this is a run back of the 2021 matchup. So at this point, with all the controversy and sort of intermingling of the story threads, are you, Joker, looking forward to this matchup?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Just use the LA night yeah, and then I'm like, yeah. Yeah, definitely 100%. Well, unequivocally, yeah. Like I feel like they've done a really good job with the build of this off the back of Sami Zayn. Like everything that this match sort of espouses is sort of just the success of Sami Zayn, the success of El Generico's friend, Samuel Zayn, the man who doesn't wear a mask. So, how can you really not look forward to this match that, even though, yes, 100% we've seen before, this is not like we had to relive the summer of the trio of Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. And as much of a fan as I am of Cody Rhodes, I was getting a bit bored of Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. But even though we've seen this match before, this feels fresh. This feels new because this is a new version of Roman Reigns. This is a more established version of him compared to the 2021 version. I would argue that the 2021 version of Roman Reigns as the head of the table and the beginning of the bloodline was very sort of lacking a direction, sort of lacking substance more so than any direction. And it wasn't really until early 2022 that the bloodline really took off, and then sort of after WrestleMania when they sort of skyrocketed with the sort of interactions between Sami and Jay. So that all being said, that led into the sort of critical relationship divide that we've seen and that we have talked about on this channel. Like, we absolutely love the bloodline here. We love the story. We love Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn. Do you love Sami Zayn, PT?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we love Sami Zayn here, and we have loved everything that we have seen about him. And it was off his back that, and the fact that he has had this relationship with Kevin Owens, that makes this even better. Because Roman is so good at playing this sort of jealous, sort of insecure leader type like individual, that he kind of makes you believe that there is the possibility of betrayal from Sami Zayn, but Sami is so good that he's like, why are you being so paranoid? And as we've seen from history, paranoid leaders often do the things to bring about their downfall on the path to avoid it. And I've just with all of those elements, it brings a nice new flavor with Kevin Owens. in the mix, even though the last time they fought, Roman beat him.
That's a fair point. Even though it's a run back of a 2-year-old match per se, the where these men are in their journey and their relationships in relation to the players in the overall storyline is different. So I'm in agreement. It's a fresh take on type of thing. And, you know, Kevin gave Roman a run for his money in that said match that we were talking about. So yeah, I'm in agreement. The build up and kind of the tension and everything played a little bit more on sort of Roman and the Bloodline's end. So, and Kevin's just kind of like, you know, he's been playing his role, but he's been like, yeah, just kind of like, yeah, you know, kind of there and saying the right things to basically put himself in position. So I'm kind of in agreement. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this matchup here. In terms of the match itself, I feel like it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be fun. I do feel like there's going to be an element of interference, as you do with most, if not any and all, sort of Roman Reign bloodline matches. So I feel like that's going to come into play. But with that, I feel like this could also, with things that are cooking, could be a major turning point in Sami's relationship with the bloodline. This match potentially could have ramifications. What are you thinking?
This next week is a big week for the Bloodline. On Raw 30, we have a Raw Tag Team title match for the Usos, which, if they lose to the Judgment Day's Damian Priest and the original gangster, Dominic Mysterio, the man who just nobody wants to mess with, one of my new favorites. You know, I don't know. That guy he just oozes charisma and absolute you know, I don't know, he's a big old criminal. I just love the criminals. He's fun. Um it's just one of those things that I feel like this week could really lead up to a downfall for the bloodline if they win that match. Because, you know, the Usos don't know the pen like Dominic does. He could bring something new to that match. They don't know. Dominic is a hardened man.
He's learned a lot in his prison time.
In his time in some county jail, he definitely learned enough that is more than the experience of the Usos, okay? They could lose the Raw Tag Team title. And this is something that I've talked to do just to kind of get away from everything else. This is what I've talked about before. We see the start of the end of the downfall with the breaking up of the tag team titles. Because you have to take things away from the Usos to start that avalanche, don't you? Like I've said this to you before. We have to take these titles away from the Usos one by one, and then Roman's paranoia kicks in. Who's going to take my titles? So yes, 100%, I agree. We're going to see interference, and we're going to see it from the Usos, from Sami Zayn, from Solo Sikoa. We're going to see loads of run-ins from these guys. We're going to see things happen, who's on what side, what goes where. And yeah, I definitely do agree that this will be a major turning point in Sami's relationship with the Bloodline, especially after what we've seen on Twitter not a few minutes before we went live.
Agreed. So this upcoming week is be a huge test for the Bloodline as a whole. You mentioned the matchups for the Raw Tag Team Championships, the Usos and Judgment Day. Kevin Owens will be facing Solo Sikoa on SmackDown just prior to the Royal Rumble, so testing his might. And hot off the presses, some speculation here. As announced on social media or some rumblings, according to PW Insider, there has been a major creative change to this Raw's 30 episode. Initially, Monday's Raw in Philadelphia was to feature a Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony that would have included members of the dynasty's past generations, including Hall of Famers Alpha Sika and Rikishi, as well as former Samoan SWAT team and head shrinker member Samu appearing. The acknowledgement ceremony angle has been dropped from Raw plans this Monday. In its place, based on what occurred on last night's edition of Friday Night SmackDown, we are told that Sami Zayn will instead be going before a tribal court in Philly for the what's being deemed trial of Sami Zayn. So hot off the presses, there seems to be a potential creative change. Now, no longer acknowledgement ceremony. Sami Zayn will be held before the tribal court in Philly for the trial of Sami Zayn. If this indeed turns out to be true, this is going to be an incredible week with things mentioned before. And like we mentioned, a major critical point in Sammy's relationship with the Bloodline.
Oh, 100%. We have said for maybe it's me and maybe PT just maybe gassed me up to make me believe that he's agreed with me. But I have said for a long time that Sami will turn on the Bloodline. 100%. Like, this is going to happen. And maybe it's more the fact that I really love Sami and what he has sort of done this last 8 months. And let me just get this out of the way. I didn't like his whole shtick with the conspiracy theorist. I liked him as a baby face. This whole heel run with the Bloodline has been a renaissance for the man. I think this is fantastic. He, along with Kevin Owens, are doing some of their best work right now. Like, and that is me remembering the Festival of Friendship with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Like, that was some good TV, and this is honestly adding on to that really great repertoire TV for Kevin Owens. I just need to see the resolution to the Bloodline really, really soon. I'm getting excited for this, PT. Like, there's just so much that I really want to see, and if I don't see it, I'll probably be upset about not seeing it. But what I get won't be bad because Roman has been picking up pace. The Bloodline has really existed without him for a long period of time until maybe November of last year. It existed for about 6 months without him. And these last 3 months, Roman has picked up pace. Paul Heyman has picked up some pace. Solo Sikoa has sort of held back a little bit now, and we've brought in Jay and Jimmy to a more prominent role as well. I love everything about this, and I don't know what else to say, man. It's going to be such a good next week, Sami Zayn, do something.
I'm in agreement. If this indeed turns out to be true, that they're switching out the appreciation or the acknowledgement ceremony for a sort of the trial of Sami Zayn in front of the high tribal court, I'm looking forward to Raw. This is going to be fun. I'm jonesed for it. So, like we mentioned, this is going to be quite the taxing week, as it will, for the Bloodline. But before we wind down the segment, I had just a quick notion of what I may think happened sort of after the Roman Reigns Kevin Owens match. I can see if I take a nod from you, sort of the armchair booker in a piece, the men's rumble happening before this matchup. The show ends with Roman and Kevin. The winner of the men's rumble, they just come out and stare at who I believe Roman's going to win. So the men's winners comes out onto the stage and stares at Roman. No physical contact, no promo. Do the old sort of Triple H, we're going to stand. We're going to look at each other. Oh, this happens way after the point.
Right, okay.
So, winner comes out stage, no contact, no promo, no touching, just looking at each other. Pan to the winner, pan back to Roman. Copyright symbol and the thing. Show fades to black. Sets up Raw and SmackDown going forward. So I feel like that could be a fun way to end the show.
Cody Rhodes would be a good man in that position. I do agree. I know that's what you were insinuating. My man, good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. We got Mr. Cody Rhodes coming out to just stare at Roman and be like, yeah, you faced all these guys before, never faced me, because he hasn't. And he's the one that's going to win. I'll see you at Mania. And then they did the whole. Be good. Yeah. Actually, that'd be really, really good. It obviously depends on who could possibly topple Cody, to even take his place in that position. So I do think it's going to be Cody Rhodes doing the deed on that one.
Yeah, it could be a fun way just to end the show if they do decide to do the men's rumble before the Undisputed Championship match. But those are our thoughts on the big upcoming matchup for Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens and the potential hellacious week upcoming for the Bloodline. Let us know down in the comment section below on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter or Instagram and let us know what your thoughts are for this matchup and the week upcoming for the Bloodline. All right, coming up to quick hits. For some of our newer listeners and watchers, quick hits are little segments that happen throughout the week that we really enjoyed that we may not have gotten an opportunity to cover full-fledged in a topic, but we wanted to share sort of our Pop the Boy segments we're really excited to want to talk about. Mr. Dr. Joker, you have a quick hit from this week.
That's my name. I do. That's my legal name. 100%. I do have one, and we kind of touched on it as well already. Maybe you saw the glow in my face while I was talking about it. This week on SmackDown, we saw some developments in a story called "The Ongoing Saga of Sami Zayn and His Tribulations with the Bloodline." Obviously, we pick up our saga from Monday Night Raw, having just seen Sami Zayn do his best in a match against Kevin Owens at the behest of the Tribal Chief when the Usos came in and interrupted said match. He was very upset about this, but everything seemed to be okay coming into SmackDown. And he came out of the SUVs. We had everybody's dapping everybody up, doing really weird sort of handshake with Jay, I think, with a swipe over the top of his head for some reason. I don't know. And he held out fist for Roman fist bump. Roman looks at him. No, sorry. Roman looks at the fist and then looks on and walks straight on as if to say, "Excuse me," walks on. You just see Sami's face like, huh? What have I done? Like, what did I do? Like, it wasn't, none of this is my fault. Like, what am I gonna do here? Skip ahead a little bit. We see Mr. Sami Zayn trying to talk to the tribal chief. But the tribal chief doesn't want any of it. The tribal chief wants none of this. Sami has failed him yet again. And he is not about to apologize for what he's going to say here. He tells him to get out of his face. Get away from me. Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. You kind of see Sami's like, what have I done? Like, this is the man who kind of says, this is my family. These guys give me a sense of being. So Sami leaves. And Paul Heyman has his first real chance to shine, as only Paul Heyman does. This sneaky snake of a man that I just want to hug because he's so amazing in this role. I've never liked Schmoley from the very beginning. And you just kind of look at Paul, and for me personally, I just heard static and went, "Oh, you could be saying anything right now, and I just think you're an absolute snake." He was fantastic. He actually ended up saying that to paraphrase because it was a bit of a long one, let's keep Sami on side. It's better to have him on our team than against us. It was sort of a wee bit aggressive of what Roman decided he wanted to say. We leave Roman in a wee bit of deep thought. We skipped it later on. Paul Heyman goes, your tribal chief will see you now. And, God, I love Paul Heyman. I love Paul Heyman's wee face. So we come back and Sami's just, Sami just comes in, you want to see me? Like, look, I get it. This is about communication. You just want, and like I said, he isn't apologizing, but he's getting Sami back on side yet again. He's so good right now. From a period of time where I was like, we don't need you in this role, to right now, we love you in this role. Roman is killing it. I just want you to know that I will give you the most amount of communication, Sami. Like, I will do whatever, whatever it needs to be done, because you just want communication. I didn't see that. It was the wise man that told me. Kind of gave me that whole, the wise man put me on the right path. I can be a bit hot-headed, all this here. And he says, go ahead and, find the Usos. Get the SUVs ready. Call the pilots and get the jets ready to go. The wise man, Solo, and I are going to go out to the ring, sign this contract, and then we're going to be okay. Something big's about to happen, and we all love it, and we did talk about it. The wise man, Solo, and Roman all make their way out to the ring. They're doing this contract signing with Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce, and who but spoils the party? Kevin Steen, Mr. Owens himself. Absolutely loved him sneaking into the whole thing, taking Solo out like he was Solid Snake, and then just absolutely wrecking Roman and leaving, only for Sami to run in at the end and left holding the contract. And him being the only one standing, with Paul Heyman holding both belts, looking at him as if to say, oh, where the hell were you? Leads in perfectly to this trial that we're hearing of. PT, I can't wait. This is getting good.
Lots of tense moments backstage with Roman, with the council, Paul Heyman, with Sami. You hit it right on the head. Roman didn't apologize. He acknowledged that he's a bit of a hothead. He might get his temper ahead of him, but the council, Paul Heyman, was able to refocus him and reassure him that having Sami on his side was better than not having Sami on his side. And to have basically, Roman acknowledged Sami just felt like if he could have some communication, he could be better serving to the family. Roman acknowledged that, said he would do better about letting people who need to know things and communicate. So the only thing that kind of ran in my head was sort of the notion of a gaslighting, which has been touched on and from other people about Roman and how he sort of works up the likes of Jay and the likes of Jimmy, and now we've seen it to Sami. And I wouldn't be against that notion, but man, when you mentioned and Paul said it, better to have Sami on our side than to not, which is a sort of very manipulative piece. Oh man. And then agreed, if it does indeed lead to what they're calling the trial of Sami Zayn, oh man. I want and I need to see this. You're right.
Shucky ducky. No, we're getting it. We have to get it.
I need this in my life. For the longtime listeners and watchers, we've been infatuated with this Sami Zayn Bloodline storyline, and just, man, Papa H has done a really good job of maybe spoon feeding us a little bit here and there and not, blowing the beans as of such, but I'm for this. I'm looking forward to the fallout on Monday Night Raw.
Definitely big shout outs to the talent like the Usos, Roman, Solo, Paul, Sammy, Kevin. These last few weeks have been some of the best sort of story in this in the since the blowout where we've had Jay and Sammy at odds. Like this has been some of the best stories since then.
Yeah, when tensions run high, you definitely want to figure out how the sort of chips are going to fall and how the cookie crumbles, as it were. So I am in agreement. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, man. Like we said, we're both looking forward to what's going to happen next.
This coming week, boy.
All right, so those were our thoughts, and thank you for Joker for sharing his quick hit. If you have a quick hit or something that you enjoyed from this week, let us know down in the comment section below on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter or Instagram and let us know what you enjoyed from this past week in the world of professional wrestling. All right, that about wraps it up for us, Joker. Oh man, it's getting exciting. This was fun. How was it for you, brother?
Oh yeah, just even talking about the Rumble is getting me hyped for it. We were kind of sat yesterday thinking, oh, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. Rumble's next week. What? We both kind of, even though we were both looking forward to it, the time got away from us. Like, how is it the end of the month already? So I'm super super stoked talking about the Rumble. It's I will admit I'm a bit of an armchair booker. Anybody who's listened to me talk about absolutely everything has heard me armchair book anything into oblivion. Um, so this is just my dream. Like I love the Rumble for a lot of things, for a lot of reasons. But that is one of the main reasons. Just being able to go and oh yeah, 100%. I would love such and such to come out right now. This would be so good. This would be so good. And then only to be like spoiled because other people have other ideas and then different storylines play out. So yeah, super stoked for this week.
Yeah, this week's going to be very, very fun. And then, of course, the Rumble coming up as well. Always just a fun event, especially for the Rumbles themselves of potential returns, debuts, surprises, who's going to win. The stories that have kind of been flowing into it have been good. Maybe not all of them have been home runs, but it's enough at least to get a lot of folks excited about what's going to happen for this upcoming Rumble. And like we talked about in this show, we're jonesed for it. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this one. All right, so for TF Joker,
You better remember to Bray leave.
relieve indeed. And for me, Pretty Tony, we thank you for your time, letting us be a part of your day. And remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and we will catch you next time. Peace.